Morning, guys. Everything new under the sun. I want to take a look at today the aftermath of the strikes, of the military strikes, the missiles that flew back and forth. And yes, Iran did fire missiles. Iran's Al-Quds force fired missiles into Israel. And so I want to take a look at a number of articles here and see what the result of that was. One thing I should note is that isn't it interesting, and I really haven't heard anybody talk about it, but blood moons and moons in general are generally signs and bad omens for the country of Israel, whereas solar eclipses are generally bad omens for Gentile nations, Western nations, for example. What I think is interesting, and like I said, I don't think anyone's noted on it, I was going to do a video last night but I didn't get around to it, was the fact that it's interesting that this massive flare-up, the biggest, I'm not sure since when, but certainly the biggest and open confrontation, effectively. You saw the news article yesterday about Israel, the Israeli intelligence minister calling an open confrontation with Iran, happened in and around, directly underneath, if you will, the blood moon that occurred on the 20th. So the strikes started Sunday morning, and the blood moon over the U.S. happened Sunday night, and they went, the larger strikes even, occurred Sunday night, our time. And isn't it interesting, the correlation between the blood moon and basically war happening in and around Israel? I don't think the blood moons really have anything to do with the U.S. I don't, some people say that. I don't think there's any significance there. I think blood moons are always a sign for Israel, whether or not they can see the blood moon. When that happens, certainly massive flare-ups seem to occur, and that's exactly what we saw, and it was spot on. It was not plus or minus a couple of days. It was right underneath the blood moon, if you will. When the blood moon was happening, this flare-up was happening in Syria, war that Israel had to deal with. So I think that's very fascinating. That's a very significant link that I've not heard anybody put together, and that's what I think the sign of the blood moon ended up being for. So updates. This is timesofisrael.com. Iranian air chief, we're ready for the decisive war that will destroy Israel. So Iran's coming out. Significantly, their air chief, remember that, they are coming out now and saying they are ready. I guess they have enough troops on the ground, enough weapons on the ground that Israel hasn't destroyed, to go to war against Israel. IDF says attack on Herman with Iranian rocket, which prompted Israeli airstrikes on Iranian installations, was planned months ago and approved by Syria, apparently. Look at the comment by the Iranian air chief. Look more specifically at who made that comment. The Iranian air chief. And doesn't Ezekiel 38 speak about a wave of enemies coming over from the north that God destroys? Well, I was going to look it up, but they're coming across as if, I think the terminology is like birds flying over. And so interesting that the Iranian air chief said that they're ready because the wave of strikes that God eventually protects Israel from and supernaturally destroys is an attack from the skies. And maybe that's something I can get into later. Amid fears of escalation hours after Israeli airstrikes destroyed Iranian installations and reportedly killed military personnel, Iran's Air Force chief said Monday the country's youths were impatient to fight a war for Israel's disappearance. So yes, Iran wants the destruction of Israel, and that's what mainstream media news does not often talk about. So what actually happened? What was the aftermath? 12 Iranians were killed, so that's significant. That means Iran will have to respond. I assume they sort of did with a missile, but when your civilians are killed, that generally means you're going to war and you do something significant. That's what the rest of the countries do. So we're going to see if anything comes out of this. 12 Iranians killed, and I guess the rest were Syrian soldiers. Total rises to 21 killed. The report further claimed 3 squadrons of Israeli jets carried out the attack on Syrian positions. So Israel's going after them with not just a plane here or there, not just a missile here or there, but squadrons of planes, of Israeli jets. Probably half of that is because they have to first take out the air defenses. They need cover from each other, so that the air defenses can't handle so many planes, etc. The report said 21 people killed in total, 6 members of Bashar al-Assad's regime forces, and 15 non-Syrian nationals were killed, apparently. IDF fighters struck Iranian and Syrian military targets, air defense batteries, and Quds forces positioned throughout Syria in the pre-dawn hours of Monday. Again, that was during the lunar eclipse, basically. The blood moon, not the eclipse, but the blood moon. The military targets belonging to the Quds force included weapon storage sites, a site at Damascus airport, and an Iranian intelligence site and an Iranian military training camp. So Israel's striking them, but Iran is still saying, we're ready to go. We're ready to go battle here. Here's one from jewsnews.co.il. Troubling report. Russian-built defense system in Syria downed 7 Israeli missiles targeting terror infrastructure. So there you can see what looks to be a fighter jet. Surface-to-air missile systems supplied by Russia, and I would say absolutely controlled, if maybe joint controlled, but absolutely controlled by Russian Central Command. To the Assad regime, downed 7 Israeli air-to-surface missiles. Likely, if these are being downed, Israel is probably strategically using them as a decoy. That's what I'm trying to think of, a decoy for the air defense system, so that while they're shooting these missiles in, Israel's also probably going with their fighter jets, again, just to give a bunch of targets to these air defense systems, to provide decoys, etc., and distraction, really. Syrian state television claimed Sunday morning that the Assad regime's air defense network had repelled an attack by Israeli aircraft south of Damascus. The IDF did confirm on Sunday that its Iron Dome missile interceptor shot down a rocket fired from Syrian territory towards Golan Heights. And that was, well, maybe not that one, but there was at least 1 or 2 shot by Iranian Al-Quds forces, and it was an Iranian missile shot by Iranian military personnel. So, as the Israeli intelligence minister said, it's open confrontation with Iran. No longer is it a proxy war with Iran. It's open war at this point. The Russian military, what did they say? They said 4 Israeli F-16I fighter jets were involved in the attack Sunday, and that the Israeli fighter jets had flown over the Mediterranean before turning east during their approach towards Damascus. And this is, I assume, so that Syrian intelligence, Russian intelligence, wasn't exactly sure what they were doing, as they were flying directly north in the Mediterranean, and then they flew. They basically took a sharp turn towards Damascus to keep them guessing. If they were coming directly from Israel, they could track the flights and they could start their air defense systems much earlier. And this also pulls, if there are any missiles shot against the aircraft, this pulls them over, pulls the missiles to be shot over the Mediterranean versus shot in the direction of Israel, basically. So it makes a lot of sense from a number of different angles. This is a jpost.com, and this is a significant advancement, and one that Israel will need if they really escalate this war more significantly. Very timely. Day after Iran clash, Israel runs successful Arrow 3 missile interception. So this is one more layer, one more level of air defense systems on top of Iron Dome and the David's Sling defensive system that they have to go. So when they do a greater strike against Syria or even Gaza, they have multiple air defense systems that they can put into play, and now the Arrow 3 missile system is apparently ready to go. Now, this was supposedly a pre-planned test, but it comes amid, obviously, tensions with Israel's northern border. Amid tensions, the Defense Ministry and U.S. Missile Defense Agency successfully conducted a planned trial of the Arrow 3 missile defense system Tuesday morning. The test, led by Israel Aerospace Industries in collaboration with the Israeli Air Force, took place around 6:44 in the morning and caused loud explosions in the vicinity of Palmahim in central Israel. It says once the target was launched, Arrow weapon system radars detected it and transferred the data to the Israeli Battle Management Control System, which then established a defensive plan. So they look at it, They figure out what the ballistics are, where it's going, what it is, what the damage could be. Is it going to land on a civilian population? What is its intended target? And then comes up with a plan to shoot it out of the air, whether using, I assume the Arrow 3 defense system, or maybe it's an Iron Dome system, etc. The Arrow 3 development program, one of the joint programs between Israel and the United States, was co-managed by MDA and IMDO, Division Defense Ministry. The pre-planned test came a day after Israel and Iran clashed in Syria. Iran, and people have commented in my comments saying, well, what has Iran ever done to Israel? Well, here's the proof. Iran fired a medium-range missile towards the Golan Heights on Sunday, and Israel retaliated with a series of pre-dawn airstrikes against Iran. So this is open warfare. This is open confrontation. I don't know that either has openly declared war, but I mean, by the statements coming out of Iran, I mean, they're ready to wipe Israel off the map. They're ready for Israel's destruction. So I don't know what more of a declaration of war, people are looking for. The Arrow 3 is a highly maneuverable system designed to provide ultimate air defense by intercepting ballistic missiles when they are still outside the Earth's atmosphere, and is considered one of the world's best interceptors due to its breakthrough technological capabilities. The Arrow 3 is the only interceptor that does not carry a warhead, but intercepts an incoming missile by crashing into it. The Arrow 3 forms the uppermost layer of Israel's multiple defense system, along with the Arrow 2, David's Sling, and Iron Dome systems, which is what I commented on. So it's a multi-layered approach. And it's really their latest system to be put on board. So they have all these 3-4 systems now, which I don't know of any others that they're working on. Maybe they're working on another one. But this one kind of covers the high-altitude ballistic external atmosphere range of missiles that could be coming against it. Iron Dome does the lower, the smaller missiles, etc., coming from Gaza. So they have a system now which can pretty successfully defend against large missile attacks. So one would suggest that they are nearly ready to go. If they want to do a preemptive strike on Iran, if they want to do a Isaiah 17 strike, for example, they're pretty much ready to go. They have their F-35 stealth jets. They have their F-16Is ready to go. They have all their defense systems ready to go. These things are all ready, and so what more do you need before the fulfillment of Isaiah 17? Well, I think you need an economic collapse. I think that's the one thing that precipitates all the rest of these things happening, which really enables Israel and Russia to go ahead if the U.S. is taken out of power. And the latest news is that the Huawei CEO, CFO, is now confirmed to be extradited from Canada into the U.S., which is going to strain relations with China. Remember, what caused 1929 Great Depression? It was trade wars. And so the U.S. is about to escalate the trade wars. By the end of January, they will have an extradition request in place for the Huawei executive. And this is really going to cause trouble in the markets. And this could be a trigger event for the economic collapse, which then I suggest to you is going to put in play, move ahead all the other biblical prophecies. Because once the economic collapse happens, once the U.S. is out of the picture, then it's an open game in the Middle East. There's no one stopping anybody anymore. And in fact, if the U.S. is out of the picture, the U.S. will feel, Israel may feel that it has no other recourse, no other country defending it, at which point it would have to use all the weapons at its disposal to deal with the existential threat, which would lead to the destruction of Damascus, Isaiah 17. And Isaiah 17 would then be the final hook in the jaw and bring Russia down, Gog and Magog, and be the fulfillment of Ezekiel 38. This is a timeline of events that I see occurring. This is a situation I think we're so close to it. So it's something to be aware of, pay attention to. Pretty exciting times we're living in as we see Bible prophecy occurring before our eyes. And remember, there's going to be birth pains. This battle may not happen tomorrow. It probably will not happen tomorrow. But these are birth pains, and these are going to increase in frequency and intensity until finally they explode effectively. And that's what we're seeing coming. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll leave it there. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and please please hit the like button and share the video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.